Live and local here in Benson, Arizona. I'm Todd Ryan. Live and local brought to you by Ed Morse Automotive Group. Cochise County is now backed by Morse. Cochise County voters have now officially approved a new 0.5% sales tax to fund a new jail that is critically needed after 40 plus years. This is the second vote on this question due to previous legal challenges. And joining me right now is one of the 3 Cochise County Supervisors on the board, Frank Antenori. First off, Frank, welcome to
thanks,
Cool
Doug.
FM Live. Yes. Yep. And tell us your initial reaction to voters passing the tax, $10,900 to $10,035. Now, that's not the official final tally, but it's roughly going to be around that.
Yeah, we should get the final numbers probably by the end of the week. And then the board will decide on, we'll do the canvass maybe the week after to make it official. But you're right, it's unofficial results. It's looking good. To be honest, I was hoping it to be a little bit higher. I was thinking somewhere around 55 to 57%, but we're very happy with the outcome. The county needs a jail, so that's really what it came down to.
Well, I found out an interesting statistic. I didn't know that there's 83,515, roughly give or take, eligible voters, and as you can see there, a lot of people chose not to vote.
Yeah, off-cycle elections are really tough for voter turnout. It's just par for the course. Average is about 25%. So I think we're in that general ballpark anyways, so it's expected.
Okay, Now let's get to some quick questions here that people may have about the tax now that it has been officially passed. What is the specific timeline for the tax collection to begin and for the construction to start that you see so far?
Okay, so we suspended the last tax on July 31st of this year. So the plan now, after we certify the election and everything's official, we will send notification to the Arizona Department of Revenue. We have to give them time to send out the software updates for all the point of sale machines in the county. But we're anticipating sometime around 1 July is when this will become official, and we will start once again collecting the tax July 1st.
And how exactly will the construction or the tax be used? Now, we know it's going to go towards the jail. Is it construction only, or how will that work?
No, it's everything associated with the planning and construction. So like as we go through this process with our owner's rep, Veneer, who is helping us select contractors and architects and whatnot, we'll be funding them with this money. And we'll also then be funding the architect to do the design work on this to get the design, and then that design will go out for bid. And of course, selecting the contractor, eventually whichever contractor wins, all that will be funded. And then the actual physical construction of the jail and the site preparation for clearing the site and diverting any flooding issues, washes and whatnot to make that happen will also occur with this money. But no operation and maintenance. Once the jail's built, the tax goes away, and the operation and maintenance of the jail goes back to the general fund, and the general fund will fund operations and maintenance.
Okay, and one of the questions people had was, how long will the tax be in place for?
So statutorily, we had to put it in for 15 years because the bond companies, the finance companies that are going to give us the money to build this require that stream of revenue to be within the economic models. So in order to meet that, we had to do a 15-year bond. But the board has agreed that we are going to accelerate payment on that with any additional funds that's generated by the tax will go towards the principal of that bond. And the goal is to have it paid off in somewhere around 11 to 13 years, hopefully sooner. We might be able to get it paid off as little as 8 to 10 years, depending on how the revenue comes in.
Okay. And then the other question many people have is, what is the average cost to an average resident that purchases things on a daily basis in Cochise County for a year? Has that been figured out?
Yeah. So aside from very large purchases, for example, cars or maybe even washing machines, if the average shopper, the average retail buyer, and the average restaurant visitor is going to pay per person somewhere between $42 to $65 a year overall for the additional half-cent tax, depending on what their spending habits are.
So unless you're making big purchases like a car or bigger items, you're talking $42 to $65 a year per resident.
Per resident, yeah.
Wow. And what is the expected lifespan of the new jail? And what, if anything, will the county do to prevent this dire need situation from happening again?
So going in, as we've told Veneer, our owner's rep, when we're selecting architects for the base design, we're shooting for a 75-year lifespan as the base of a minimum design. So it needs to be designed to survive and last at least 75 years. But with proper maintenance and care, there's no reason the building can last longer than that. One of the things that we're asking the architect is to provide a maintenance schedule for the various aspects of the architecture and the design of the jail, what has to be done monthly, annually, or every 2-3 years, and continue to upgrade the technical and mechanical aspects of the jail to maintain that jail so that it lasts, we're hoping, 100 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you guys are going to work to try to make sure that this situation doesn't happen again, and you'll have proper upkeep checks,
Right,
and the funds to go with it if needed.
So we are going to, our facilities director for the county is going to place 2 maintenance specialists in the jail full-time, whose mission and purpose in life will be there to provide maintenance for the jail, and we're going to have dedicated funding out of the general fund to cover the cost of that maintenance. So it will be, and we take it off the sheriff's plate, because the sheriff's got a lot on his plate. Obviously, he's doing a lot of stuff, and it's a pain in the neck. I can imagine the logistics of maintaining what will be a $90 million facility, right? So to take the aggravation and the headache away from him so he can go do other things like public safety, the county maintenance is going to be done by our facilities department, and they will be overseeing the maintenance of the jail and make sure it stays in tip-top shape. So like I said, it lasts 100 years.
Will there be a public transparent auditing process, and how frequently will updates be provided to residents?
There's going to be a whole flurry of meetings now once we certify the election and get the ball rolling. So probably after the first of the year, you're going to see probably 2 to 3 times a month public meetings that people are welcome to attend or watch online. Of course, just go to the county website and you can watch all of our meetings. The entire process is going to be 100% transparent. Of course, any meeting that myself and the 2 supervisors in are a public meeting, and it has to be public. So we will have these meetings with all the different architects and all the different contractors, all open to the public for the public to attend and review, and they will all be online. We are audited by the state auditor general. She does an annual audit, and that is the official audit, but the public is welcome to, on our OpenGov website, the county's financial website, you can see all the financial documents there and all the demands that are paid in relationship to the jail, and the public is able to see those. They're all posted online.
Have you guys picked out a spot for the new jail yet, or is that still yet to be decided?
No. The board voted on the jail being placed next to the old jail in Bisbee.
Okay.
It's going to be just to the west of it. There's land that the county already owns, and we're in the process of working with Freeport McMoran to acquire additional land in that area that is not residentially usable, let's just say. That would be ideal for a commercial purpose. So we're still in those discussions with them. So hopefully we'll get some additional land so we can get a nice sized footprint.
All right. Well, Frank, this is a pretty big deal. So let's reiterate once again, in case I missed it, and for those that are just tuning in, when do you hope construction to begin and finish in your dream world or plan?
Ideally, we'd like to have the design kind of wrapped up by summer, by July of this coming year in 26, and then have it go out for bid, and then have that process done sometime in October. So a year from now, we're breaking ground, hopefully in a year, and then 18 to 24 months to build it. So again, we're kind of hoping that before November, December of 2028, before the end of 2028, we hand the sheriff the keys to the new jail. That's the plan.
Are you seeing any further potential legal or financial challenges that could arise during the implementation of this new tax or project? Because obviously we've had some hiccups along the way here.
Yeah. I'm hoping that there won't be, but you can never predict. People in it's a free country. You can file a lawsuit if you so desire. If you believe there was something that was done improperly or wrong, you're allowed to bring that to the court. So we're kind of optimistic that we've kind of put all that to bed, and the people have once again spoken on this issue. And I'm hoping that we can now get on with getting this jail built and getting it done with and getting the issue completely resolved and moving on with other more important things to do in this county, like fixing roads and dealing with some of the health concerns, some of these smaller underserved communities like Benson and Wilcox and Douglas and stuff. So that's a lot of stuff I know myself and Ms. Gomez want to work on.
Yeah. And Christy, you're asking the question, that it was brought up as far as the site in multiple meetings, but there's a lot of people that still don't know where the site is because they ask questions all the time of Cool FM. And so it's constantly getting the word out.
I really appreciate what you guys are doing, because one of the things that came out during the town halls is this county doesn't have a good media outreach. And now you guys are filling that sort of hole, and you're growing your news organization. You're starting to reach quite a few people in the county. And I wish 6 months ago you guys were all over this, because I was reading your website this morning and your Facebook page, and there's a lot of comments on there from a lot of people that just don't have the facts and the details of what's going on here. A lot of misinformation and confusion. So I appreciate you guys getting the accuracy down and clarifying some of this stuff so that your listeners and viewers get a better idea of how this is going to go forward.
Yeah, and we'll follow it, Frank, and maybe you can help us with that, down the road here, step by step in this whole process till it's all finished.
Right.
Every step of the way, maybe we can meet with you and some of the other supervisors as well periodically for updates.
Sure. The next big step is to define the requirements that we can provide to an architect and putting that out to get an architect, and then beginning the design process. So that's going to be happening over the next 6 to 7 months. So that's the next phase, is the design phase.
Right. Frank, any other comments you want to make or message to the Cochise County residents while we wrap up this interview?
Sure. I just want to say I appreciate the trust the voters have placed in the county to execute this project, and of course the hardworking taxpayers of Cochise County that are going to fund this. And I just came down, and the snowbirds are here, so they're going to help pay for this as well. That was one of the big things. The point we made was about 25% or so of this is going to be from out of county visitors and residents. So we're hoping that, we don't have to put the full tax burden on our Cochise County residents, that our visitors will help chip in to build this jail. But I really appreciate the confidence of the voters. I am going to make sure that this jail is built as efficiently, cost effectively, and as quickly as possible, and that we pay off the bond or the loan that we get to build this jail as quickly as possible. So hopefully in 8 or 9 years, the sales tax goes away and we can get back to just business as usual once that tax is gone.
All right. Cochise County Board Supervisor Frank Antenori. What area do you cover, Frank?
Right here, beautiful.
Right here in beautiful Benson.
Well,
right?
Basically everything north of Sierra Vista. I have the Fry Town area of Sierra Vista. Okay. Everything 7th and Fry Boulevard. And of course, Fort Huachuca is in my district. And then everything north of basically Elfrida, basically, Sunny Zona, Wilcox, Bowie, San Simone, the whole north end of the county pretty much.
Okay,
gotcha. Is
gotcha.
my district, yeah.
Just a couple of side questions. Were you surprised that the vote was as close as it was, or were you a little nervous as a Cochise County Board Supervisor that it wasn't going to pass? Because 10,000, there really wasn't many votes in between and not a lot of breathing room.
Yeah, I knew it was going to pass. I was thinking it was going to pass, like I said earlier, between 55 to 57% of support was what I think, based on the sort of feel I was getting from all the residents and the feedback we were getting from the town halls. Overwhelmingly, it was probably, I would say, 2 to 1 in support of the jail. So I thought that would translate into a higher support. So I was a little, I wasn't concerned about, it not passing. I was a little surprised that it didn't pass by as much as I thought it would because of the positive feedback we were getting. But there's, again, like I said, from reading your Facebook page, the Cool FM Facebook page, and the comments on there, a lot of people did not get the information. And I think if they'd understood that, it would have we need a new jail. Period. Whether the tax passed or not, we were going to have to find a way to fund a new jail. And if we didn't get the permission of the voters, it would have unfortunately forced the board to raise property taxes. And I did not want to raise property taxes because that tax is borne 100% by the residents of Cochise County, whereas the sales tax is only about 75%. From Cochise County. The other 25% would be funded by out-of-county visitors. So I was glad that message to a degree got out there, but it did not seem to penetrate as much as I had thought. And then analyzing the vote, I saw, and understandably, the middle to lower sort of income areas of the county were overwhelmingly against it. And the medium to upper income portions of the county were overwhelmingly in support. So I would say the opposition was more of an economic sort of message that the folks out there, they either decided they couldn't afford it or they didn't want to pay the additional half cent. And I understand that. So that's why we're going to do what we can to make sure that those tax dollars are spent wisely and that the jail is built in the accordance with the budget that we have planned, which is about $130 million right now. So we will build that jail for about $130 million. That's the plan.
Yeah. And again, for people that may not realize that it's a 0.5% sales tax, and really the burden for an entire year, as you were stating, that you figured out is between 42 and 60 some dollars a year for an average resident.
Right. So it's basically a penny for every $2 you spend, right? So every time you spend $2, the county gets a penny. So that's kind of the way it's going to weigh out. So if you can figure out how much you spend, divide that number by 2, that's how many cents per that dollar amount that you're gonna spend. So people can figure it out based on your spending habits and your budget. But that was just the average that we got from the economic analysis done. We had the Eller School, the U of A. Eller School has the economic data for Cochise County. So that was kind of where we got that number from. So they kind of tell you what the average spending is for the average resident of the county. So you add that 0.5 onto that dollar amount, and that's how you come up with that number.
Yeah, and I don't think that number got out there to enough people too as well to realize that.
I know the sheriff was making a point of it in the town halls. He would bring it up pretty much every town hall that, hey, look, is it worth what is basically 5 or 6 coffees, out of the year that you would not be able to, a $5 Starbucks coffee, is that sufficient to keep the community safe, to keep people that don't need to be on the street off the streets, and then provide that degree of future growth as the county grows, so we don't have to keep coming back to the taxpayers. This is a one and done deal. We're building this jail to hold up to 400 inmates. The current population is only 250, so there'll be room to grow in there. So we're not going to have to come back, like I said, 50, 75 years to the voters. So most of us that are watching this will probably not be here.
Right.
And that's the goal. So we're all, maybe our great grandkids will have to deal with this, but our kids, our grandkids will not. That's the goal.
Yeah. And now, Frank, had this vote lost, and let's play this out, had it gone to forcing a property tax increase, what would the average cost have been to the average owner that with a property tax increase for a year? Did you guys figure that out if it had gone
to a degree? So we just did a 2% tax cut for everybody in the county this last year. So, and that was done for 2 reasons. One, we wanted to go back to the original level of tax for the county, and 2, we wanted to blunt the sales tax a little bit. Again, shift the tax burden more to the tourists and the snowbirds and everybody coming in here, and less on the property owners. So we did a property tax cut, which would have saved on average about $25 for a $250,000 household. So if you figure a 2% tax cut's about $25, we would have probably needed to do a 12 to 14% tax increase. So you probably would have been looking at somewhere around a $300 a year increase, which is a lot more than $42 to $65. Yeah. So I think it's much better that this broader, lower tax across a bigger population, including out-of-county visitors, is a way better way to go. Only 42% of Cochise County residents own property. So you would have taken what would have been everybody in the county, plus all the visitors bearing the burden, to just 42% of the county bearing the burden. I think that wisely that decision was made by the voters that, hey, let's have everybody chip in to build this new jail. And I appreciate them, again, for seeing that wisdom and giving us that opportunity to do it that way.
Cochise County Board Supervisor Frank Antenori, thank you so much for joining us here on Cool FM Live. And Frank, we will be meeting with you more down the road to get updates on this and other things going on in the county. Maybe we can do some.
We got our tomorrow night. We have our big road town hall. So if people are wanting to talk about maintaining the roads in their neighborhoods out in the county, we're having a meeting tomorrow night to discuss county maintenance. We're adding some roads to the list of county maintained roads and taking others off the list. And that's published on the county website. The agenda is also there. But if you want to have an opportunity to talk to the board tomorrow between 5:30 and 7:30 in Bisbee in the board hearing room, we'll be there to hear from the public about roads tomorrow night in Cochise County.
And that's Thursday, November 6th. Thank you.
Yes, tomorrow night.
All right.
Tomorrow night, 5:30 to 6:30 or 7:30. 5:30 to 7:30 tomorrow night. So,
all right.
So come on down to Bisbee and let us hear about your roads.
All right, Frank. Thank you so much for joining us today.
All right, Todd. Anytime.
You bet.
Take care.